When my wife suggested an open marriage, I was shocked. But what I did next might surprise you even more. We weren't the kind of couple people whispered about. No scandal, no screaming matches, no broken furniture or betrayal. If anything, we were boring in the best way, reliable, consistent, solid. Maya and I had been married for 8 years. College sweethearts. She studied psychology, I majored in marketing. We bonded over philosophy classes and late-night ramen. She was fiery and idealistic, I was more grounded, maybe even cautious. But we balanced each other. At least, we used to. We got married in a small vineyard, exchanged vows we wrote ourselves. I meant every word of mine. I think she did too, at the time. We built a life. Joint bank account. Rescue dogs. A friend group that blurred the line between family and drinking buddies. But somewhere around year 6, things just shifted. We didn't fight. We didn't cheat. We didn't even talk less. We just became quieter. Dinners were routine. Laughter felt scheduled. Our sex life, once electric, became mechanical, sometimes even skipped entirely. At first, I thought it was just life. Stress. Aging. Work. But one night, as we shared a bottle of Cabernet, Maya looked across the candlelit table and said, "I've been thinking. Maybe we should try an open marriage." I blinked at her, unsure if I'd heard correctly. She said it so softly, so calmly, like she was suggesting we buy a new mattress. "I'm serious," she added, swirling her wine. "It's not that I don't love you. I do. I just feel like I missed out on something. I want to explore more of who I am." I asked, "Is there someone else?" She hesitated. "There could be," she finally admitted. "But I want us to both explore. Not a betrayal, an agreement." She framed it like a spiritual journey. A brave, modern relationship evolution. "It'll make us stronger," she said. I wanted to say no. I should have. But instead, I nodded. Smiled faintly. "Okay," I said. "Let's try it." We set rules. No one from work. Total honesty. Always use protection. Don't fall in love. Looking back, the rules weren't guardrails. They were illusions of control. Maya dove in fast. Within 2 weeks, she was already talking about a guy named Brent, a guy from her Pilates class who challenged her spiritually. He had a man bun and wore toe shoes. She said he made her laugh. Said he was helping her heal her inner child. Whatever that meant. Me? I stayed home with the dogs. I cooked dinner for one. I watched reruns of shows we used to binge together. And I pretended I was okay. At the same time, my company was growing fast. We were onboarding 2 huge clients. I was drowning in emails, deadlines, and pressure. I needed help. So I posted a job listing for an executive assistant. I interviewed a few dozen applicants over Zoom. Too many were either underqualified or too robotic. Then came Elena. Late 20s. Former office manager. Masters in business admin. Dry humor. Direct eye contact. She didn't try to impress. She didn't flirt. She just listened, really listened, and then answered like someone who had nothing to prove. I hired her the next day. Elena was a rock star. Efficient. Smart. Funny in that quiet, sarcastic way that sneaks up on you. She left sticky notes with to-do lists and random movie quotes. She kept snacks in her drawer and made sure I ate on heavy days. At first, we just talked about work. Then books. Then music. Then childhood stories. We shared playlists. Swapped movie recommendations. She once brought me soup when I was sick and left it on my desk with a note, "Don't die. You have 237 unread emails." She made me laugh again. And not the polite kind. The real kind. I hadn't realized how much I missed that. Maya was off on a weekend trip with Brent, some spiritual retreat with sound baths and intention setting. I spent the weekend at the office. Elena stayed late to help prep for a pitch. We ordered Chinese food. Talked about family, dreams, regrets. Around midnight, I told her the truth. About the open marriage. About Brent. About how lost I felt. She didn't judge. She just looked at me with a kind of soft understanding I hadn't seen in years. "You deserve more than being someone's safety net," she said quietly. That sentence broke something open in me. It happened 3 weeks later. We just finished a long presentation. Everyone else had left. It was late, cold, and the office was quiet. She was packing her laptop bag when I walked over. I didn't say anything. Just touched her wrist gently. She turned. Looked up. And I kissed her. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't reckless. It was careful. Like something sacred. When I pulled away, she didn't speak. Just leaned her forehead against mine and sighed. That sigh told me everything I needed to know. I didn't tell Maya. But she felt it. "You've been different," she said one morning while feeding the dogs. "You're smiling more. Standing straighter." I shrugged. Maybe I'm just finally happy. A week later, she demanded to know if I was sleeping with someone. "You wanted this," I said. "You pushed for this." She said it was supposed to be just fun, that falling for someone else wasn't part of the plan. I laughed. "Oh, now there are rules?" She asked to close the marriage. Wanted to go back. Reset. Pretend it never happened. But I'd already crossed that line in my heart. And there was no coming back. She called my mother. Cried on the phone. Told her I'd left her for my assistant. Painted herself as the abandoned wife trying to heal. She told my sister I was having a breakdown. Then she posted cryptic quotes online. "Some people only value you when it's too late," followed by selfies that looked like audition tapes for a breakup music video. But I wasn't going to be her villain. So I sent receipts. Screenshots. The date she created her dating profile. Her messages with Brent. And I told my family plainly. She started the fire. I just stopped standing in the smoke. My mom was quiet, but you could see the disappointment in her face, at Maya, not me. My sister said, "She's lucky you didn't walk away sooner." My uncle actually high-fived me and said, "Finally got a woman who doesn't treat you like a project." Maya's mom was furious. Said I was abandoning her daughter in her moment of confusion. I responded, "No. I'm just not your daughter's plan B." That shut her up. I filed for divorce 2 weeks later. There was no dramatic confrontation. Just a quiet, cold morning where I laid the papers on the kitchen counter and said, "I'm done." She stared at them like they were written in a foreign language. At first, she laughed. Thought I was bluffing. But when I packed a weekend bag and took the dogs to my brother's for a few nights, reality hit her like a freight train. That's when the panic set in. She begged. She wept. She clung to my shirt like a drowning woman. Said Brent didn't mean anything, that it was a phase, a mistake, that she had gotten lost and just wanted her husband back. But I wasn't hers anymore. The man she wanted back had starved beside her for 2 years while she fed herself on novelty and philosophy. And I had no desire to resurrect him. We went to mediation. She tried to play the victim at first, crying, fragile, feigning confusion. But once my lawyer laid out the receipts, screenshots, texts, timeline overlaps, even a printout of her handwritten list titled "Things I Need to Do Before 35," which included have a threesome and get laid by someone under 25, her narrative fell apart. She tried to fight the prenup next. Claimed it was signed under emotional pressure. But again, receipts. Emails. Her own excited messages about how smart it was to protect both of us. She folded. I walked away with the house. The dogs. My car. And half of her retirement fund, which, ironically, was built during the very years she claimed to be finding herself through self-help podcasts and sacred sensuality yoga retreats. She moved into a rental across town. Beige carpets. No dishwasher. I only know that because she left a review on her landlord's Yelp page complaining about water pressure and emotional mold. Elena didn't move in right away. We were careful. Intentional. We dated quietly. No big announcements. No flaunting. Just walks in the park. Shared playlists. Movie nights with burnt popcorn and flannel pajamas. 6 months later, she brought over a box of her books and a French press. That's when I knew she was home. Now? We travel, nothing fancy, just weekend drives in small towns with old bookstores and diners where the staff knows your name. We dance in the kitchen. Sometimes with music, sometimes without. She hums while she stirs, and I spin her around just to hear her laugh. We read next to each other under the same blanket. She always steals the corner first, and I pretend to be mad about it. It's not flashy. It's not performative. But it's real. And that's something I didn't realize I'd been missing until I had it again. And Maya? Brent dumped her when she brought up being exclusive. Her friends faded when she stopped paying for group trips and avocado toast brunches. She started a healing blog. The last post was titled, "The Cost of Giving Too Much." She messaged me on my birthday. "I miss you." I didn't know what I had. I stared at the screen for a while. Then I blocked her. Final thoughts. Open marriages don't fix closed minds. Freedom means nothing when you don't understand the value of what you already have. She opened the door. I walked through it. And I didn't look back. Have you ever had someone regret giving you up? Or asked for freedom? And couldn't handle what came next? If this story hit home, hit like, subscribe, And share your own experience in the comments. Sometimes the best revenge is peace.